Here we go.
Hey everyone, welcome to Checkpoint Achieved, episode 16. I'm Bryden Keks, and I've got with me here today Mike Leahy and Gage Fall.
Hi.
And we're going to talk about E3 because
Hi.
E3 is in within a week. Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
E3 is within a week, and we got some predictions for the show. We also have some news this week. Very limited because everybody's waiting for E3 to come around and to share this stuff off then. But Dark Souls 2 is officially coming out March 2014.
Yes.
And this disappoints you, right, Gage?
In a little bit, but either way, I'm excited. I thought it was coming out like this generation. I heard that from a friend somewhere, so I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's kind of quick." But
It is this generation. It's
is?
going to be current generation in March, and might be next generation. They haven't said that yet.
oh,
So
Still in that awkward transitional period.
there's going to be so many games like that too. Where right now there's going to be the Call of Duties, the Battlefields, Assassin's Creeds, Watch Dogs, where they're all coming out, but they're going to be available on PC, current gen, and next gen.
They're not really. I don't think any of those games are really going to fully utilize what the new consoles can do, anyways.
No, they're not going to come close,
No.
because that's something that didn't happen before. Like last generation, there was that too, but the difference is now you're going from last generation where it was HD and standard definition, where PS2 and Xbox were significantly different in that type of aspect, to now it's still HD. It's not that big of a difference. Yes,
Yeah.
you can have more things going on the screen. There's going to be better frame rate. Your actual resolution is going to be better as well. But these are all things that...
And that's only like visuals too. That's,
Yeah.
Like, I'm really interested to see how games change with this new generation.
No, definitely. I think there's going to be more opportunity for things to be more expansive and different at the same time too. Right now we're very limited, just like we were the generation before, by what we can do. And that's going to open it up. But we're still going to have to kind of just live with the fact that coming up for the next little bit, there's going to be a lot of games coming out that are just going to be like, we don't want to lose money by bringing these out for next-gen consoles, so here's a worse version, but also makes the next-gen one not that great as well. It's like PC ports. Right now you can play a PC game. I played Metro Last Light on the PC, and that game looked freaking amazing.
yeah.
And it doesn't look as good on console. It's going to be like owning your own PC in the living room type of thing. So that's not bad, but we're going to have to wait a bit on that. But still, Dark Souls 2, kind of cool. I really want to give that series a try, but I missed the boat initially on it, and I've been turned off from trying to do it because it's a very...
In-depth.
You have to commit yourself. You have to be like,
Yeah.
I'm playing this game, and I'm going to... If not like it, I'm going to go through at least 5-10 hours of it and be like, give it a try before you really dismiss that. And that's a hard thing to kind of commit to. So I want to try before, but I mean, I'm excited to see what they do because Dark Souls 2 looks a lot more refined. Probably going to have more money behind it as well.
Yeah, and they also added. They're making it easier. They're adding an easy mode, so that'll help with new players.
If you're playing a game like that, though, you want to go hardcore.
Yeah.
It'll be more. They'll sell more because of that.
Yeah, it'll be accessible
It won't
to...
be discouraging to anybody.
Yeah.
Anymore.
It'll be out there so that people can play and then be like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have to. I mean, there's definitely people out there that just want to play.
I think they'll do one of
easy.
those things where you can see that they're playing easy mode.
That'd be funny.
You know how there are some games like that where you look at your friend's name on the list or whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right? And it says, I don't know what game does it, but I've seen it a couple times. Blah 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 game easy mode.
Just
It'll-
calling him out, right?
Yeah.
No, that's good whenever that happens because
Yeah.
you're like, oh, yeah, how's that game treating you? You having a tough time with that
It's
one?
pretty tough.
Yeah.
I'm dying a lot, but I'm playing on hard.
Yeah. No, that'd be awesome too. Someone just straight up lies to you, and
It's
you're like,
no.
Oh,
look
yeah.
at your status, buddy.
You know, you'd have no idea either because I don't think it shows what game you're playing on your list.
I don't think so
It doesn't
either.
show on your name, so you'd have no idea. So
Just look like a little douche.
with current PS3, anyways.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that coming. This one is not necessarily news in regards to announcements for next gen E3 and all that stuff, but PlayStation Plus is getting another boon for the summer. They did this last summer where a lot of really Cool games came out for it called the Instant Game Collection. And this time around they have 3 games coming out in June. Deus Ex Human Revolution, Saints Row 3, and on top of that 2 Machinarium. Unfortunately, I own Saints Row and Deus Ex, but those are 2 really well-received games.
Saints Row 3 is awesome.
That's something that I think is cool, especially because Saints Row 4 is going to be coming out in August. That's
good timing.
Good timing for them to make that happen there. And then the last story of the week, the last notable story of the week, is that Amnesia Machine for Pigs has been delayed till the end of the summer. Their quote was that we want you to go and enjoy the outdoors, but when it's the end of the summer, you can enjoy Amnesia. That's not quote for quote what they said, but something close to that. And I will, again, we've talked about this before, but I will not play that game because that game's going to be scary, and scary games are scary. So
I like scary games.
Well,
didn't you play Metro? Isn't that kind of a scary game? It's
not
like
in the same way.
There's this is actually a good conversation to bring up because there's games I played like Rage and BioShock and Metro Last Light's another example too, where they get they're tense and they get your adrenaline pumping a bit, where you're fighting these just kind of beasts, or you're in these
and they come out of nowhere and stuff.
Yeah, so it's a jump effect. There's stuff like that going on. But then there's the next level of games
where it's all about the fear.
It's about
Slender, things like that.
Playing in the dark, scaring the crap out of you. And those games I've tried. I've actually, because like I talked about this last year, where I tried to ramp myself up from like never playing really anything that was remotely scary, to trying to play more of those games. And then I hit that point where I'm like, I can play anything. And then when I tried to play like one of the scariest games out there, I quickly realized, like, we played Slender, and I played that again while I was talking to someone at another point. I got like 6 of the 8 pages on the first level. But even then, after that, I felt exhausted from that experience, because it's just like all this tenseness. Like, I think another really good example, this is completely different than that, but I played XCOM Enemy Unknown, and that game, after like a long day of work, was not a game I wanted to play, because it's a very stressful
and you got to think a lot.
Yeah, and most of the times I try and play games for this kind of escapism experience, or at least something to play with friends where you're having a fun time. Those are the kind of 2 experiences I look out of games for, and usually, XCOM was an awesome game for what it did, but I try and avoid things that, drain me as a person from like interacting with people after the fact, or just feeling like my nerves are all wrecked from playing a certain game, which is never fun. But people, people love that. So Amnesia will be a big hit this summer. But that's pretty much it for news. We're going to jump right into E3 predictions, just talking about E3 too, and games that we're interested in. So we have a list here of 5 predictions. We didn't really know how to do this specifically because we never really did. We did predictions for the Xbox One. That was very specific to one console. But we've never done predictions for our whole event. And we don't cover specific consoles either. So what we decided to do was do 5 predictions for the show in general. And I guess we'll take turns with this as well. Gage, you want to start us off with your first prediction for E3?
Sure. My first prediction was there will be Uncharted 4 or something.
So will that be at the Sony press conference they'll show off Uncharted 4?
Yes.
All right. And that gameplay?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be like a trailer where Nathan Drake like stands up in some like environment.
Yeah, and just
maybe
he's
in space this time.
Walks out over a waterfall and his hair's still up. And
it's like...
He's like,
part of his shirt's wet and it slowly dries. Yeah. They just show off that.
Oh my god, it's so amazing. That was last gen, where when he walked into the water and his pants got wet, everybody was like, "Oh, his pants are wet."
That still kind of amazes me.
It is kind of cool. You can see that actually happening though, like when he goes into the water, his pants get wet, and it's like a 10-second delay until his pants dry up. At first it was like, it's real time, like exactly to the exact spot, but it really was just him going into the water, pants get wet, get out of the water, pants dry. So I mean, yeah, that was cool, but weird tangent, I guess. But that'll be neat to see Uncharted 4 if they bring that out. So my prediction, I'm going specific with these ones too. My prediction, this is a shared prediction with Mike. We are both saying that The Last Guardian is going to be at the PS4 event, and at least for me, I'm saying it's a launch window title. Meaning it doesn't have to come out at launch because, they might delay it again. I feel like they have to, like...
eventually, they're gonna have to say this is when we're gonna release this game.
Yeah,
or they're gonna say, okay, well, we give up.
They've
got to do something at some point. Like, come on. please.
I think there's really good hints to it being a PS4 game though, because
oh, it's not gonna be a PS3 game. Are you kidding me?
It was supposed to be a PS3 game, right? Originally, that's what was supposed to happen with it. But the thing that really interests me.
How cool would that be though if it came out in like November?
I would like that. I'm not joking. That would be a massive, massive thing from the show off.
Yeah.
And I know people might be skeptical, but that is still the people that brought us Eco and Shadow of the Colossus. Well, Shadow of the Colossus mainly.
I really doubt it'll happen because
I
think it would be a big mistake actually financially, because it'd be a big selling point if they put that game exclusively on PS4.
Yeah, this is
right?
like
that could be a game that makes
you buy
a lot of people. Yeah.
So many people want that game too. That I think that makes sense. And the point that I wanted to make was that Fumito Ueda, who's the creative director behind these games, left the company but still was working on making this happen. And he actually had a quote back in February where he said, "This game is like really moving along and we could talk about this game right now, but it's up to Sony to talk about this game." They straight up said that we can, like, things are good. Like, he was given the thumbs up, but he said we don't have the permission because it's a PlayStation exclusive. It's up to Sony to talk about it. And they've been keeping it in their back pocket. And I just feel like it makes so much sense for them to bring that up. And obviously, you know, if they bring it to PS4, they could do a late PS3 title, but I really think that would be, like, if they just, because they went dark, right? They didn't show it off. If they come out with that game looking better than it did before, and being a PS4 exclusive for at least, hopefully, the launch, like, first month or so, maybe later than that, but still, that would be a big coup. And I actually strongly believe that it's going to be at E3. I really do. I really think. But the fact that it hasn't been shown anywhere is really indicative of Sony having this, like, because, you know, Microsoft's going to come out and they're going to say some awesome things about their console and the games they got coming out, right?
If they come out and give some sort of release, like maybe the quarter that they're going to release it in or something like that.
Get people excited for it at least. Be like,
it'll
hey.
probably, combined with everything else that they're doing with all their exclusives and stuff, it'll blow Xbox One right out of the water.
It's a title that I think even more so will make people migrate from PS3 to PS4. That, especially, you know, people are talking about how Xbox is going to try, or Microsoft's going to try to get the Asian market to be interested in their console, which
really doubt it'll
they've
happen.
failed. But if Sony comes out and says Last Guardian's coming out, that's like a massive, you know, for that market, that's a big
They've just
coup.
blocked it off completely with that.
Yeah.
If they do that, then Xbox with Asia doesn't have a chance.
Yeah. And I think they ignored it in ways too, where they're already behind, but, you know, so all Sony needs to do is keep them happy and give them the games they want, and it's going to be in the bag for them.
But I don't think Microsoft probably doesn't care anymore. They're doing their American thing, right?
They're going to show off, like, I'm actually worried about their television stuff for other areas.
I mean, no. What I mean is they don't care about trying to go into other markets now.
They
PS3
really
is
want
huge
Europe.
in Japan.
They really want Europe, though. Europe's the
they'll
battleground.
go for Europe, but like the U.S. in particular,
they got it down.
Yeah, they've got it down.
But this is the thing, though, they screw up.
Especially with the whole football thing and stuff. Now they're gonna have the NFL on there. Okay, we're in Canada. Football is huge in the U.S.
I totally agree with that, but it's not just like it isn't Canada or Europe that was upset with the conference that Microsoft showed off. It's a general consensus that a lot of people on the internet, at least. And the problem with this, though, that we have to understand is that yes, they're going to come out and show off a lot of things I think are going to make people interested, but word travels, and especially with this, you know, age comparatively to last generation. I think I heard a really interesting comment from someone specifically where they were saying that they were on the street buying something from a vendor like the day after the Microsoft event, and he heard someone like talking like, "Oh, so did you see the Xbox One event?" And said, "No, I didn't, but I heard it was a disaster." Like, just, you know, random people that don't look like they're gamers are talking about this event because it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
And you know how we, for example, you know, talk about something like Amnesia Machine for Pigs, but don't really care about the intricacies of what's going on. We say, "Oh, that's being delayed," and that's as much we give that topic. And there's going to be lots of people out there too that just hear Microsoft disappointing, and that's like they'll link those two things together and just walk away from the situation. So their E3 conference has got to be big, But there's also room for PS4 to be really big in North America. Hopefully, if they are able to continue to have a strong showing at E3.
I think it'll be big with like gamers.
Yeah, you're right though
Like,
with the NFL stuff.
With the NFL stuff and the TV service type stuff, it's gonna be really big with more family stuff.
They connect to if it's gonna deliver a better experience. It's also gonna be another boon.
It's gonna be more of the family system. And then there still be like more hardcore gamers in it too, because they have the whole MLG thing and stuff like that.
There's another point that I wanted to kind of bring up as well that's interesting, is the Wii U hasn't captured the same audience that they had from before. Like, the Wii was this console that everybody had, right? No one's picked up the Wii U. Is Xbox One going to become the next Wii in that way?
I think the Wii's going to stay that way.
But what if kids want something for Christmas and are like all excited about the Kinect and that type of aspect? I know that I guess I'm long shot.
They've had 2 years to be excited about the Kinect already.
But it's a new Xbox.
But it's like, why would you get Kinect or PlayStation Move when there's a Wii?
I guess so.
Right?
The cheaper price, right?
The Wii does do it better.
Yeah. But I mean, the Wii U I'm talking about the Wii U though, that no one cares in regards to that on the actual market. They think it's like an add-on or a peripheral. They don't.
Well, because it's been poorly marketed and it's a piece of crap anyways.
It could be, no, I want to say this though, it could be the dark horse of E3 as well, because Sony and Microsoft are coming out with these consoles and they're showing off their things. Meanwhile, Nintendo's got a lot of their core franchises up their sleeve. People are talking about Mario Kart might be coming out this fall. Super Smash Brothers, another one. A new Metroid game might be coming in the near future. And then you look at, what about an actual like 3D world, new Mario game, like a Super Mario Galaxy, not that, but a different world. And then you have a new Zelda HD game in the works possibly too. If they somehow, chain those together in the right type of facet, Wii U becomes the cheaper console this winter and the one that has games available right away. And yes, it's not going to be as good, and the actual maybe gamers that are understanding.
It can still sell to younger kids and
parents that
like
want something cheaper.
Nintendo fanboys and stuff like that are going to be big on it.
They might be able to make a comeback, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. This could be a big deal for them if they're actually able to show off some interesting stuff. Because if they're like, if we got...
I think the biggest thing is they have to make it clear that it is its own console.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
that really does matter. And I just, like...
Even like, I know it's its own console, but even when I see it, it still looks like a Wii add-on.
Yeah. That's completely fair. Yeah. And I've talked to people as well that have not necessarily people that play lots of games, but just overall just people that understand what video games are and play games from time to time. A lot of those people that I know that I've just asked out of curiosity have asked or said that the Wii U is a peripheral, right? Or like, I'm interested in buying that. And no, it's not. It's an actual system. But yeah, so your second prediction, Gage.
My second prediction is Valve will come out with a game that ends with 3.
That's a cheeky one.
Yeah.
What's your thinking behind that?
I don't think it's gonna be Half-Life 3. First of all, I just don't think that. No. I think it's probably going to be Portal 3 would be my best guess. I don't think they're even going to make another Team Fortress for a while at least.
I don't know. I disagree. I don't think it's going to be Portal 3. I think Half-Life 3 and Left 4 Dead 3 have a better chance of being the games that they announced, because Portal 2 is kind of, not that long ago that they made that game. I don't think there's a market there for another one right now. I think that's something that they would want to regain that anticipation for. The other thing, too, to note is that Valve, along with Take-Two and Rockstar, are companies that don't really show their faces that much at E3. They just kind of avoid that. So if Valve were to do that, that would just be them posting a trailer, or being at a conference, which would be unique, because Steam's its own thing, its own entity right now, where they don't necessarily have to play with the other big boys. They can just be like, this is our, they don't need, they would come out on consoles if they made Half-Life.
And I think the other one is possibly Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah. I really, for me, out of those ones, because I don't have the certain affinity towards the Half-Life series, I'd be excited to see another Left 4 Dead, because that's a game that I loved playing, and the actual co-op experience you could have from that was really fantastic overall. So my second prediction was that I believe that Respawn, who are the original, well, part of I guess it was Vincent Sampella and I forget the other guy's name.
Not sure off the top.
Yeah, you had to look like you were gonna say it. Were two guys that were originally a part of the Call of Duty team at Activision. Yeah, they were the main, minds behind Infinity Ward, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare series, and the original Call of Duties as well. And they left. They developed Respawn Entertainment, and one of those two left the company, but they're still working on the game. Nothing's wrong with it. And to me, it almost seems like a no-brainer that they would kind of go in cahoots with Xbox One. So my prediction is that at the Xbox conference, we're going to see Respawn Entertainment's new FPS shooter, and it's going to be an Xbox One exclusive. So I mean, to me that makes sense, and I really I believe that would be something that they would show off and be like, look what we got, because that would get people excited. Not me necessarily. Well, I'd be excited to play that game, but I wouldn't, we're talking about Last Guardian. To that,
well, I think their game is going to try and be the next COD killer.
Yeah,
and I think that's maybe one of the ones that has a shot because it's coming out for a new generation.
And then the conference and the actual
there's a COD killer. There needs to be a COD killer.
The COD killer is going to be it's going to be a game that's going to be repeated yearly, and it's just going to become like COD.
Yeah, but at least it won't be COD. At least
there's nothing wrong with COD though. COD is
actually, I saw the Ghost trailer, the Ghosts thing, and I was actually pretty excited by that. I was like, that's the first time I've been like, oh, cool, Call of Duty.
Mocap dogs.
Yeah.
COD is probably
not the dogs thing.
I
just thought it was really cool because it was just the whole setting of it seemed really cool to me.
The idea that you are not the prevalent force, that you're kind of a guerrilla.
Yeah. Exactly, it seemed cool. It implies there's going to be more sneaking around and stuff, which, if you look at the Call of Duty games, those are my favorite levels. For the story mode, I mean, is when it's sneaky. And if they can incorporate more stealth into multiplayer, that'd be cool. I doubt they will, but it'd be cool if they did.
So for me, the reason why I said Respawn was because that is gonna hit a really big core audience. Like the FPS audiences already on Xbox wants to be enticed to go back to the Xbox, and that's a game that would really get them excited for that. So we'll move on to Mike's second prediction here, and I'll let you take it away. We have a little notepad here of our ideas.
So I think with the Sony stuff, because Sony has assembled an all-star cast for Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah.
So I think they'll probably have them make an appearance during their...
They're going to show some PS3 stuff.
Ellen Page, probably Willem Dafoe.
Be on stage and be
One or both of them maybe will probably do some sort of stage thing. And maybe show some gameplay.
I hope it's Willem Dafoe.
Just have Ellen Page playing herself. That would be funny.
Ellen Page is kind of hot, so...
But Willem Dafoe entertains me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ellen Page is just like...
Actually, it would be better actually if it was just Willem Dafoe like on stage and like, and now I'm going to press this button and we'll see what type of action happens.
It'd be hilarious.
They shouldn't give him anything though. He should just be like on the fly.
They should not tell him how to play the game and see.
Or just have you guys ever seen that Harrison Ford Uncharted 3 trailer?
No.
It was a fake trailer for I guess it was you broke the pen. No.
Broken the pen.
So he was pretending to play the game, and he was like watching Nathan Drake do all these crazy action events, and he'd be like, "Whoa, crazy! Ah,
that's awful."
And then he's like dressed up he's got like his fedora right beside him and stuff like that, and he's not really dressed up like Indiana Jones, but it's like this guy was indie.
It's implying.
So I mean that was like weird and funny, but it'd be funny if they had like Willem Dafoe be like, crazy graphics. That's me on screen. I can touch myself.
That's so weird.
At the PlayStation event, Willem Dafoe touches himself.
Headlines are written. Okay. What's your...
Ellen Page watches.
Ellen Page watches Willem Dafoe touch himself. Okay, Gage, what's your third prediction here?
Okay, my third prediction is Fallout 4.
Alright, is it just going to be like
You think it'll just be announced?
I think it'll be some like 50s music, and then you'll see like a.
But where's it going to be? Is it going to be at the Xbox One event? Is it going to be the PS4 event, or is it just going to be like a trailer that they show off?
I think it'll just be a trailer.
All right.
If I had to guess an event, I'd probably say Xbox.
I mean, they could have it up their sleeve.
But it goes on both consoles.
Yeah, but they like want, for example, Destiny's going to be at the PS4 event, but they're multi console as well. But they just like Watch Dogs.
I guess Bethesda's not doing a big thing, so.
Yeah, they don't have their own.
Yeah,
they're
not
like,
doing their own press conference.
EA do their own thing. Like Watch Dogs will probably be at like the Sony event, or one or the other. Like
Watch Dogs will probably be at the Ubisoft.
Yeah, but what they'll do is they'll have. This is what they do for Ubisoft, for example, is like they'll have Splinter Cell at the Xbox event. Like last year, they had Splinter Cell at the Xbox event, and they had Watch Dogs at the Ubisoft event. But when the actual, or not the Ubisoft event, the Sony event, but when the actual Ubisoft event came, they had both of them there as well. So it was, they showed them off multiple times, but they're like, they wanted to,
push it.
Yeah, because people don't watch the Ubisoft event as much as they would watch the Microsoft or the Sony event.
Especially this year.
Yeah. It's going to be a big deal for those events. It's still a big deal for those ones, too, because you want to see that new game. Like, they showed off Watch Dogs for the first time at the Ubisoft event last year, which is a big deal.
And that was probably one of the biggest things at E3 last year.
Yeah. So my third prediction is now going back to Sony, back and forth here. And it's another exclusive, and I'm predicting that Sony Bend, which is a team that haven't had as much opportunity to make big games, but they were the creators of the Siphon Filter series back on the PS2 and the PS1 and on the PSP as well. I'm guessing that they're going to bring back that franchise, and it's going to be a PS4 exclusive. So I believe that Sony's going to have those chips to put in where they're going to be like, look, we have even more exclusives. They'll show you infamous Second Son's gameplay. They already showed you Killzone. Maybe they'll show you a little bit from that. But they'll go and say, hey, here's a bit of Infamous, and here's a bit of Knack or whatever. But here is Sony Bend's new game. And here is Studio Japan's Last Guardian coming to PS4 exclusively. And guess what? All these games are exclusives that you will only be able to play on this console. Like that type of...
You know what I want Sony to do with The Last Guardian is just... Because there's that big wolf-looking bird thing.
Chimera kind of thing?
Yeah. If they just, like... showed its face, and I said this with Halo too, like just showed its face and then gave a date.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Well, I think they could close off of that or start off the conference and be like, boom.
Or no, that's how it ends, and then everybody like, oh shit, oh
PS4 pre-ordered. Yeah, I mean that's my third guess.
Do you think it'll be like a first-person shooter, like a COD, trying to
Siphon Filter?
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be like the old Siphon Filters, which were third-person. Stealth action.
Like
it's
the SOCOM games.
I think the best example of like what that is essentially Splinter Cell. Very close to that, except old Splinter Cell. You know what I mean by like not the Splinter Cell that runs into a room and tags 5 people and shoots them. It's the Splinter Cell that, just essentially stealths his way through every single part of the game, which you can still do in Splinter Cell, but that more classic type of stealth game.
Yeah.
Hey, so Mike, your third. What do you got here?
I'm gonna go with Assassin's Creed. They're gonna show gameplay footage.
That is the most safest bet I've ever heard.
I wanted to have one right, so so I went easy there. Well, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And
you son of a bitch.
But it's not written in the thing, as far as I know.
Yeah.
It's not like said.
If they didn't show it off, that would be a bigger deal.
Surprising.
Yeah.
I'd be impressed if they didn't show it off. Yeah. I'd be like, that took some balls.
Let's make this a little bit more. Because what I want to do is after E3, I want to look back at these things, see who did the best.
They'll show a trailer that way overhypes the game too,
and has some sort of song.
Will it be
some sort of catchy song that everybody's like, oh, I remember that song?
3 guesses, or choose one of these 3.
Okay.
And or you can pick your own, I guess. But is it going to be an assassination gameplay, showing off an assassination in like one of the towns? Is it going to be naval combat or is it going to be underwater gameplay? Ooh. Because underwater gameplay is one of the new features. Naval combat is going to have a bigger role, and they always love showing.
Three.
It's going
to okay. It's going to start.
He jumps onto ship, kills guy.
Yeah,
gets the ship.
It's gonna be ships going across, like shooting at each other, right? And then he jumps in the water, swims around, goes under. Maybe some sort of shark or something.
Yeah, shark goes like bit him, and he's like, "Get away!" And then
knifes it.
Stop, shark.
You know, like he's like, his assassination targets, King Shark,
and then comes back up. He'll come back up from the water on the other boat, the enemy boat.
You go to a cutscene. You're holding the shark.
Disgusting.
I can just see a shark flops onto the deck, and he comes up. He's like, "What?"
Oh my god. Sorry, we just derailed you there.
It's okay.
I totally saw that too. I could just see him holding the shark in his hands and be like, "Why did you do this, shark?" And he's like,
rubs his palm over the shark's snout, the eyes close.
The eyes closes the shark's eyes. Requiescat to Bache.
So that's actually a good guess, though.
Okay,
mixing all three together: assassination, underwater, naval combat. That is a guess.
I'm actually gonna say how it's gonna happen too.
Okay.
It'll start off with ship battle, like they coming across each other, shooting like that whole scene.
Shots fired.
Yeah, he'll jump in the water, probably from like the mast or something.
Yeah.
Do like an eagle dive or whatever, leap of faith.
Yeah. Go
in the water. It'll show some underwater stuff. He'll come out, assassinate the enemy captain.
Sounds good. That makes it a tougher guess. We can say
that's gonna be what happens. I'm like, it's not even a guess. It's almost.
If you're wrong, we can give you a half point. If you're right, we can be like, ding, 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 ding.
Or
genius.
They could go out of nowhere, or not go out. They could just play it safe and show city stuff.
Yeah, I think that'd be stupid. I think if like that's what you want to do. Everybody's watching. Show them what you want. Like you want them to see this. Show them the awesome sequence. Because you know what was really cool about the E3 showing of Assassin's Creed 3 is they showed off the snow, which we had yet to see in Assassin's Creed game. Like in that type of effect, him trudging through the snow. That was so cool.
Is there any other games that did that, like interactive snow?
No. I think that's the only one that's really pushed that.
Yeah.
But that's like the idea, right?
It's not really like, it's not like, oh, I want to get this game because the snow interacts with where I walk.
But it's still cool, right?
Yeah, but it just like makes it feel small. It makes it feel more realistic.
I think Skyrim had that, but it was like it would just make you go slower and it ruffled. It wasn't like you could actually see
you didn't slow down at all. You just hear the crunch sound.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, that's a good guess, and I think that it's smart to think that they're going to try and show off the things that,
They're going to show off those two things.
They're really smart. They show off shark assassination.
He'll probably... Oh! You know what would be cool if they showed? They probably won't because it'll piss Pete off. But some wailing.
Yeah.
I'd love it if they showed that.
Just be like...
Just a big middle finger. Yeah. Big middle finger to them. Be like, it's a video
Name the whale, too. Be like, you're after this killer whale. Its name is PETA.
Yeah.
Or PETA.
Well, they'd probably get sued.
No, not
Look,
PETA,
there goes Free Willy.
Pet,
He's dead now.
Oh.
So your
pedophile.
Fourth one.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
My fourth one is Wii U Zelda.
So HD Zelda.
This writing is
I
was like, Wiz Khalifa?
What we did before is we wanted to make sure that we actually had what we...
We have a list, and Bryden's handwriting is awful.
I just written with like... There we go. Now, because I could just notes for... I visited it, yeah. So yeah, we use Zelda, HD Zelda.
Yeah, like a Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, or
that type of thing. But actually looking, like, do you think they would show off something that was like a Wind Waker type of style? Because you got Wind Waker coming up, or would it be like make it look as real as possible? Do we get Skyward Sword, which is kind of like bright and friendly, or do we get the Zelda Twilight Princess, which is like we're hardcore?
I think it's gonna be in between the two. And they're not going to be really going either dark or light. It's going to be more focused on like the gameplay.
They should do like a realistic Zelda.
Zelda with stubble.
With like heads getting cut off and stuff like that. That'd be so cool.
So my fourth prediction is that Black Tusk is going to be at the Microsoft event. They are the AAA studio that they've had up their sleeve. These guys are supposed to be industry veterans brought together to make a really awesome exclusive for Xbox One. My prediction is it'll be at the Xbox One event, and they'll show it off, and surprise, surprise, it'll be a first-person shooter. I think it's a pretty safe bet because Black Tusk's obviously an exclusive studio to Microsoft, and they want to show off what they've got, obviously. I think the only real guess there is it's a first-person shooter, but that kind of fits to what Microsoft, usually has on their consoles.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, moving on from that, Mike, your fourth guess.
Okay, I think they're gonna announce some prices.
But
that's my hope, anyways.
Microsoft and Sony.
Yeah,
that is?
it's for the new consoles. Okay, so that's what I think.
I think I'm interested. It's either once one fires, the other one will follow. Like once one says something, the other will follow. Because
I think it might be kind of a waiting game too. Because they want to be the first one to get their console out, but also they want to be able to be competitive. Yeah. Right? Like they want, hey, this is how much Microsoft is selling theirs for.
We're cheaper.
How much closer can we get, or do we even have to worry about it? Right?
No, definitely. That's the real hard part about this, because I think personally they're gonna wait as long as they possibly can to tell us when it's coming out and how much it is, because it's gonna be a battle between the two to get the mind share of people, and who's gonna come out first? Who's gonna have the cheaper console? Those are important things to a lot of people. So yeah. So Gage, your final prediction.
My final prediction is Halo 5.
And this is a prediction from the Xbox One reveal. Did not come to fruition. You think it's going to happen, though, still?
I think it's going to be really small, like a 15-second teaser.
Yeah.
Maybe just Cortana saying something about the ends of Halo 4. But I think that'll be a thing.
I thought she went insane.
Kind of. She went rampant, but that's kind of insane. It's not really a spoiler. It happens at the beginning of the game.
So that's a guess that it could happen very well, because Halo 4 came out. They don't need to say when it's coming out. They just got to be like, Xbox One, you're going to want it because Halo 5 is going to be there. Yeah. So my last prediction is in regards to the PlayStation Eye, or whatever it's going to be called, the sensor bar that they showed off, very similar to the Kinect. Kinect 2 is going to be in the box for Xbox One. My prediction is they're going to tell us that the PlayStation Eye is going to be in the box for the PS4 as well.
I think that's a pretty good guess.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense too, right? Because this is going to be something that they're going to want to integrate with the actual console. So I don't know what that's going to be. I don't know how it's going to integrate with the controllers or the Move controllers. I just want to hopefully have something that's unique, that makes my gaming experience more interesting, and, obviously bundled in. I don't have to go buy it after the fact.
Yeah. As long as it's not spying on you.
Yes.
I'm happy.
Yeah. Checking your heart rate. Yeah. Knowing if you're happy or not.
It's creepy that Xbox is doing that kind of stuff.
Well, it's not that creepy, really. I mean,
It's creep. I don't like.
I carry around a phone that is constantly connected to the internet with 2 cameras on it.
Yeah, but
and that's with me.
But this thing,
all the time.
like every time you turn it on, apparently it checks how many people are in the room. Like, what's up with that?
Just so that when you're watching the movie, you're not having too many people in there.
Yeah.
You're not, there's some weird law where you can't have.
You can't have like 4 more people.
Yeah,
in the movie.
That's bullshit.
You gotta pay more.
Yeah, that's now a gathering or something.
You gotta go sit in the corner.
What if
you hide from the
hide behind the bush?
What if you have 6 people in your family? Now are you screwed? Like,
What if 4 people are watching a movie and then your mom walks in?
Yeah, and it's like
dun 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 dun.
Explodes.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what interesting features the PlayStation Eye and the Kinect 2 have for us at E3. Do you have one more guess or one more prediction?
Yeah, every single one of these events is going to be exceptionally corny.
That probably, actually, you know what? We said safe bets on the Assassin's Creed and the Black Tusk. That's probably the safest one. Yeah. I want the caffeine guy to come back. Do you guys?
I want Drive Club guy.
Yes.
Yes. Drive Club guy.
We got every thread in there. Alright, let's move on to new releases this week. I'm sorry for the people listening. I don't know what that was. So Rememeber Me is the biggest new release this week. This is a game that's getting a lot of praise, but also some response that is on the negative side as well. And I've been able to play about 3-4 hours of this game so far. I really enjoy it. And we definitely have a lot more discussion on this game. Gage, you have yet to play it yet, but we'll be talking...
getting it this week.
Yes, we'll be talking next week. And that's one of the games we're going to be doing a spoiler cast for as well. It definitely seems like one of those that we could do a spoiler cast and definitely get something out of that as well. The other big release is State of Decay. That's a game that I've also picked up, played a couple hours. We'll talk about these two in games we played this week. And this one's definitely really cool. It's a $20 game on Xbox Live, but it does have its fair share of issues. Its frame rate is abhorrent at times, and I'm having fun with it, but I'm not deep enough yet to really get a big consensus on the overall enjoyment of that game. But besides from that, Marvel Heroes for the PC coming out. That's an MMO, I believe, or a free-to-play online game that lets you play as Marvel Heroes.
It's kind of like a Diablo clone.
Yeah, that's the one that people have been talking about. That's kind of the reminiscent example of that. And Gunpoint's another game that's a stealth puzzle game that people have been talking about. I have yet to check it out, but definitely something that maybe in July. This is the period here. We got Animal Crossing coming next week and The Last of Us 2. So the next couple weeks are going to be crazy of E3 as well. I'm going to be missing some of those indie games right now, but we'll come back to some of the games like Swapper.
So excited for The Last of Us.
Yes.
That shit's going to be awesome.
It's going to be amazing, and the ratings have been so good so far.
Very good ratings, apparently.
Yeah. But Game Point and Swapper are a couple games I want to check out, just not yet. And
I can't wait till you get to shoot the guy in the head.
Then drop the controller just like they did on the PS3 conference. Yeah, I'm a boss. So those are the big releases this week, and those are actually some notable ones as well. But now we're going to move on to our Fuse review, as me and Gage have played through this game this week. Before that, though, we'll take a quick break and come back with what we thought of the game. Alright, we're going to move on now to our Checkpoint Achieved review for Fuse. This is a game that me and Gage have been playing quite a bit this week. Played through the co-op together. And overall, this game is a very interesting one because it's made by Insomniac Games. They are the creators of Spyro, Ratchet & Clank, and Resistance.
So fairly good track record.
Yeah, they have a good track record. This is their first game that's a multi-platform title published by EA. And we were interested in it, weren't we? It was one of those games where we're kind of on the fence on.
Yeah, we're just like, should we do it? I don't know. Are you going to do it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it if you're not going to do it.
We essentially decided and went down to the store together, looked at each other as we bought the game to make sure that we bought the game. And the best part was actually that I wanted to share with you. When I bought this game, we didn't play it the first day. I had the game next to me on my table over here, but I did not open it. I had it in its wrap. And until the very moment that you went onto Skype and said, let's play this game, I did not open that game up.
Because there were some problems with the initial setup.
Yeah, and it was not even that too, but I was just worried you'd be like, I don't really want to play this, and be like, motherfucker, I opened up this game. And that already kind of gives an idea of maybe a little bit of apprehension of this. The reviews came in because we review games about a week later than everybody else, so we have not necessarily our opinions based on other people's ideas, but we get an idea of what kind of the general consensus is and then create our own opinion on it after the fact. And Fuse was a game that was getting very mediocre reviews, but the worst part about it was that people were saying it was quite generic. And for a game made by Insomniac, I was actually a little bit disbelieving because their games have usually been quite unique, great guns overall, and usually fun experiences. So
yeah.
That was why I was willing to give this game a chance, give Insomniac some money, and experience a co-op game, which you rarely get to do. So yeah, Fuse is a 4-player co-op game, which is a third-person shooter as well. You can play as either Dalton, Izzy, Naya, or Jacob. These are the 4 characters that you can switch between. You can switch between them whenever you want. Minus when you're dying. You can't switch when you're dying.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were able to experience it, kind of get an idea of our favorite characters, but mix it around. And the story is very much popcorn flick, just action adventure that you don't need to worry about. And the thing that we really experienced with this game is when we're playing in the live stream type of environment, we didn't care about the story. We had the basics of what was going on.
We kind of knew what was happening. Like, oh, we got to go stop this person because they're bad.
That was pretty much the basics of our experience with Fuse in the actual story department. That was totally fine, though, because it's a co-op game that you just want to have a fun time with friends. And that's where this game hits the right mark, because it has, for all intents and purposes, it actually has pretty solid combat. Like, the controls of the game are crisp. I have to give it that. There is no real issues with the actual design of it. The game doesn't, run into frame rate issues. It looks relatively nice, even though it's pretty drab.
It could have looked nicer.
Yeah, it's a game that does not fail in those regards. But the issues that we started running into were after the first couple missions, I think. I think the first couple missions, we were having a fun time.
First 2 missions, I think I think the best thing that we did about that is we played them. One mission stopped. Next mission stopped.
Yeah, there's 6 missions in the game, and they're split into about an hour period. Some are a little bit longer, some are a little bit less. And these are very good bite-sized areas to play with your friends, because when you play through these areas, you can make sure that, you know, hey, we're playing this mission tonight, and then you're done that mission and you know what's up. We went through a couple of missions where we played a couple at the same time, and whenever we did that, it was very much a grind, where we were just hating ourselves after the fact for doing it. I literally was getting to the point that I was shooting and not caring what was going on the screen. And that's even more indicative of the fact that this game can become a very much brainless shooter at a lot of points. I think the first 2 missions, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, the weapons felt unique because they were new at that point. They are unique weapons that are actually interesting.
And then we kind of got used to them.
Yeah.
You only get 4 weapons.
You have other weapons, but they're very generic, and there's a balance that is not correct there. With Jacob, I would play and headshot someone with his arc. I think it was laser arc. I don't know what it was. It was his bow and arrow / sniper type of weapon, and I think it's arc laser. I think that was the name of it there. And you know, I do a headshot and it would kill somebody. But if I had my machine gun or submachine gun and I was shooting at somebody with my regular weapon, it would take a clip, maybe even more, to kill.
Yeah.
And the balance between that felt completely off, especially with the fact that this game throws so many enemies at you at the same time. And the first couple missions, I felt also the enemy variety and the locales made it interesting. It was, you know, yes, you ran into a couple mechs that were getting a little bit repetitive, and the same battle arenas started popping up, but it felt different. It felt nice, and, you know, kind of switching between the players was a positive. And the other credit I got to give the game is that when you go to different levels, because the 6 missions are set in different areas, it is a different environment, and usually they try and mix it up.
Yeah, they did pretty good with that. There was like a snow level, a level in like India that was kind of sandy jungle.
There's different aspects of that too. And each level, like for example, the snow level has these areas where you're on these zip lines where you're staying there for quite some time, and you have this certain fighting event going on. But one of the things I kind of realized playing after the fact is that, you know, you'd move the fuse containers, and that actually happened a couple times. You had the areas where you were locked in a certain area shooting at people, and it actually happened on a train at another point too. The game takes these certain events and just pastes them and puts them in different scenarios. So even though they felt kind of unique in a way, they really were the same experience once again.
They were copy-paste levels.
Yeah, they were definitely. And besides from that, that's, you know, the more intriguing parts. The basic, just going through the level, you have the traversal platforming, which was a bit interesting. You have the security parts, which were a nice change at certain points.
You had to shoot robots.
Yeah, but the actual entering a room and fighting enemies became so repetitive later on these parts. And especially if you're playing an hour-long mission, by the 50th minute of that mission, or, you know, the later parts of that mission, I'd be dragging my feet through it, and I think we would even become dulled by the experience that we weren't even playing to our full capabilities.
Yeah, we're just kind of zoned out shooting, and the enemies take a while to kill. Like they feel like they're taking a little bit too long to kill.
Yeah, there's really unique opportunities they can use with the weapons to chain them together. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do there, but it only goes so far to actually creating this experience in a fun way. There's a certain point where that ends, and you start becoming a player that is not entertained by what you're actually doing. And when you're in a video game, you're not enjoying your own experience. That is something that is really, I don't think, acceptable for you. That's when you put down a game. But the difference for us, we're doing a live stream for this, we're doing a review for this, so we're going to play through it. And the other part that I wanted to note too is usually in a live stream environment, you know, we're having fun quips, you know, doing a overall good job of just trying to keep the chatter going. Usually by the end of the mission as well, it was really hard to keep that going. Like it felt like our energy was so drained by this just constant banging of the same situation again and again.
Killing enemies, walking out of the room, walking into a new room.
Yeah, killing more enemies, and then entering a room where there's mechs, and those mechs would be the same mechs that you fought in every single other level, and you'd fight them a couple times too.
Entering a room where you try and be stealthy, but muck it up immediately.
Yeah, and it was frustrating too, because I enjoy when games give me that option to have that stealth aspect. This game does give you that option, but it's for like 10 seconds.
Yeah. And
then there's no way for you to actually fully complete it, I believe. So yeah, besides from that, there was the boss battles, which I wanted to kind of get your idea on. But there's nothing really to spoil there. The final boss battle is mediocre. It feels super cheeseball to me.
It's a robot.
It's like you didn't even need to do that. I feel like games sometimes should just take the route of saying, yes, you caught the bad guy at the end. This one didn't do that. It just straight up, you know, gave you the ultimate robot with the bad guy in it, and you had to fight him. And it was, you know, again, won't ruin the final level's location, but it wasn't anything special. I felt like I just wanted to end at that point. And that's, again, you know, getting to the end of the game, you want to have that gratification of that final battle. It wasn't there. And the other battles, you know, we had like these
helicopter.
Yeah, I forget what they're called, but they looked like the Killzone VTOLs. And there was one level where you fought, I think her name was Mei Lin in one of them. And then there's another battle where you had one of those, and then there's another one where you had two of them. And well, actually, there was the snow level where it was like a different one, but 3 of the final battles were with airships.
Yeah.
And 2 of those times it was one airship, then 2 of the same airship, and the other time it was one of the bigger airship that did pretty much the same thing. The second boss battle is really weird and random, but I mean, besides from that, it was just, it wasn't memorable. It wasn't memorable in any way, and besides from that, the other thing that we need to know as well is that this is our co-op experience. In single player, I played through, and Gage played through the 5th level, and it was hard. It was hard to really commit to playing through that.
I didn't finish the 5th level.
Yeah.
I was playing it, and I got stuck for a little bit, like a couple minutes, and I just decided, you know what, if I die here or whatever happens, then I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. But that was the point though, is like you're stuck listening to your AI. There's nothing else there. There's not that friend quipping with you or anything like that. You have to actually listen to the story and try and get something out of it, right? And that's super hard to get out of a game that, like I said, is very much a popcorn flick, that there's nothing really memorable going for it. And that made me appreciate the co-op. So the one thing we wanted to say is that if you are going to play this game, play it in co-op. Do not play it in single player. This is a game that you either go all in for, have your friends playing with you, or you just don't pick it up at all.
If you think you're only going to be able to play like 3 missions of this with co-op, don't get it.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing to note here is that the AI in a lot of ways are not smart. And that's one of the reasons why the single player is very hard to enjoy. One of the things that we noticed when we were playing just as 2 players is that one of our characters, Izzy, would actually just be in a corner, not doing anything for the whole room that we're in.
She wouldn't come revive us. She wouldn't do anything.
And I mean, that would be interchanging between the characters depending on who we were playing, but it usually would be her. Dalton usually, for whatever reason, didn't really seem like he was doing much, but he never really got caught in anything. And it became a joke when we were playing that, you know, Izzy was, something wasn't, you know, right in her brain there because she'd just go into the corner. This wasn't all the time either, but it was frustrating for the fact that we're already having this tough enough battle as it is. Why do we need to be just even more inundated with this struggle? And I think that just really kind of highlights the fact too that this is a game that, yes, they tried to make the AI the best they could, but really has some issues in regards to that as well. So overall, this game, I mean, for me personally, I'll give up my final kind of verdict on it. It's a game that if you want to enjoy with friends, you can. Do not buy it right away. This is a game that you can definitely wait for. It's going to go down in price pretty early, and something that you should pick up on the cheap. It's a game that you can play and have a fun time with friends, but it's a game that you're also maybe having a couple beers playing. I wouldn't even play it either in the same room because the split screen is horrible as well.
It's vertical.
It's vertical split screen. It's really hard to even play and
understand.
Even
give you the option to fix that.
Yeah,
who uses vertical split screen anymore?
It's pretty hard to really get into that. And the thing that we didn't really mention, because it isn't very mentionable either, is the multiplayer. It's a horde mode. It can be fun in ways, but again, it's just pretty much the single player experience, because the single player experience a lot of times feels just like a horde mode. So in a lot of ways, this game can be fun when you're playing with co-op, but when you're playing single player, it is not a great experience whatsoever. This game is a 6 out of 10 for me. It's a Steam sale, meaning that don't even buy it on price drop. Wait till it's like $25, $29. You might be able to find some fun out of it. It's a good developer that made this game. I do respect them still, and
I really like Insomniac's games. Like, I love the
this was just disappointing
series.
Overall, and one that we felt like when we got to the end of it, there's a bit of a, you know, like maybe there's gonna be a fuse too, and I'm really scared of that. And if it does happen, I'm not gonna, you know, if Insomniac chooses to go down that road, I will not support them a second time in regards to that. But what was your verdict in the end of it all? I
give it a 5 or a bargain bin. So don't pick this game up unless it's like a year later and you're walking in Walmart.
And it's just like, we're trying to get rid of this.
2 for $15. What do we have here? 15 copies of MMA, EA Sports, and Fuse.
Yeah. But why does it, like, because going down to a bargain, that's probably the lowest score that we've ever given on Checkpoint Achieved. Why is it deserving of a 5?
I was having fun for the first 2 missions, not because of the game, but it's because it was co-op. Like, it's fun to play co-op.
We're having a good chat, you know.
I no longer wanted to be playing that game at the end. It's a game I didn't like, really. It was forgettable. The co-op, the combat was nothing special. The weapons were fun at first, but got pretty, like, repetitive, and then the AI wasn't great.
Yeah. So in a lot of ways, guys, it's bland. It's not anything special. And there is some fun to be had in the co-op experience, but only if you really, really want to find it.
Yeah.
And from us, guys, that's a bargain bin and a Steam sale. So unfortunately, last week I wasn't able to post up the question of the week, so we didn't get any responses to what you guys are excited for E3. But nonetheless, we'll be coming back with another question this week, and I'll make sure to post it right away so we'll get lots of responses for it. And it's in regards to The Last of Us. It's gotten fantastic reviews today, and we want to hear from you guys. Are you excited for The Last of Us? If so, why? You can leave your responses on the YouTube video that will be posted, or send your responses to checkpointachieved@gmail.com. But to finish off the show this week, we'll talk about the games that we've been playing this week, and some big ones there too, as I've been playing State of Decay and Rememeber Me. And let's start off with Rememeber Me, because this is a game that I've been excited for some time. I think you've been excited for it as well, Gage.
Yeah.
And one that we're definitely going to do a spoiler cast for. Holly, who's yet to be on the show, might also jump in on that one too, so we'll have some varied opinions on that one. It's been very divisive in people's opinions of if they like it or not. So I always like a game like that too, because that really pulls on what people's interests are and what they like out of video games. And for me, I was a little bit disappointed to see the reviews coming out for this game, but playing it myself, I have to say this game is a very, very well-made game. And I can't say for sure yet. I'm getting closer to that verdict of where I really feel about it. There's still a lot of the game left. I have played through 3 of the episodes out of 7, and that means I'm about halfway roughly. But there's definitely a very interesting combo system that is a part of this game, and I wanted to talk about it a bit on the show today. And it was probably the part that I was least excited about in the game when I started playing, and I started realizing, oh crap, this combo system is not fun, and 7 or 8 hours in this game, I'm going to be just absolutely, banging my head against a wall. Because what it started off with is you get these pressings which you can use, which are certain keys that you can unlock that are a part of these different types of combos. And this is a little bit hard to explain without actually showing video to go with it, but pressings are separated into different categories where you have your power pressings, your regen pressings, your cooldown pressings, and your linking pressings. That's as much as I've seen so far. And how these integrate together is that you can put them into combos. You have to buy them first. But for example, your very first combo is a 3-hit combo where you just press X, X, X. So you can imagine that can get very boring very quickly.
Yeah.
This is the very beginning of the game. All you're doing when you're fighting is pressing X. And when you're not hitting people, you're pressing X to dodge. So it's essentially one button mashing. And I was like, this is horrible. But what started to change, you get the 5-button press combo and the 6-button press combo, and there's an 8-button press combo, where you mix these together in certain ways, and it really starts to pay off in the actual playstyle that you like. And these get a little bit more complicated, where you're mixing triangle, circle, square, all these different things together. It hasn't been that excessive as of yet, but what these actually mean is you start off with a combo. Let's say a 3-hit combo is very simple, but a 5-hit combo, you want to put something in the very beginning of it that you can make happen. Yeah. But the more later in the combo an actual pressing is, the more power it actually has. Which, again, is a little bit kind of hard to describe, but for example, let's say I've got a regen press in the very beginning of my combo, because maybe I'm low on health. What that does is if I press triangle X, by the time I press X and I hit someone with that, so I get only 2 hits in my combo, I get a little bit of health back, which is nice. If I want to have immediate harder damage done to the enemy, I put a power press in at the beginning. But the idea is with that you can kind of create these combos the way you want, and it gives you lots of opportunities. You also have these special attacks too that have cooldown rates, and you use the cooldown pressings to bring those back. And you get into this type of area where I'm really at the point now where I'm creating different combos for different attacks. Where I'm in a certain area, I have the cooldown combo where I want to get my cooldown back as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And then I have a 5-hit combo where it has a link, which means that it connects 2 Prestons together to make it extra powerful. And this one specifically does a massive amount of damage. And I use these for certain attacks and certain people, and I can see the intricacies and actual depth in this world that it's really fantastic. Like, the combat seems so simple to me, but when you actually build it this way and you create it the way you want, it becomes really intricate and a lot of fun to do. And the dodging is great. The actual animations and the music going around, the actual orchestral music for the battles, is right on the keys of what you're doing. So if you have a regen one, it has a certain sound. If you have a hit that does a lot of damage, you have a kind of like a memory remixing sound to that too. And they all play together so well to really make the combat a lot of fun. At first, I was really bored of the combat, but I'm now at the point where I am excited for entering, you know, the battle arena type of scenario. And that's only a facet of this game. The game looks beautiful, has no hitches in the actual design of it, and the world is so fantastically made. It's Neo Paris 2084, this weird, just dystopian world that everybody lives off of memories. Everybody wants to share their memories, and you know, if you have a loved one, the very beginning of the game, I'm not going to spoil it for you, Gage, because you got to experience it and spoil it for you guys, but they have like essentially a commercial, and it's really cool. Kind of gives you an idea of what this is, this company called Sensen, where they've now essentially monopolized the market where people get addicted to memories. If you could think about this, like, if you wanted to experience a certain memory, like you want to go see the Grand Canyon, this game kind of says that you could essentially go buy that memory.
Kind of like Total Recall.
Yeah, and the idea is that you essentially get so hooked on these memories, and just like the endorphins that come from these fantastic things, that you can actually go crazy from it. And there's these people called Leapers that are people that have now entered the slums of Paris because they're straight up hooked. That's like they kill people to have their memories. Like that's junkies. Yeah, they are junkies for memories essentially. And it's a very interesting type of style to play that on. And the story, cliche because you are a memory hunter, so yes, you are the chosen one in some ways if you want to look at it that. But your memory is wiped at the beginning of the game. You don't remember anything. You have to trust this person called Edge to get out of the Bastille, which is the actual prison that you're in. You get out of it. And the best part about this game is it has these great cinematic moments where you look around the world. And they show you these landmarks from Paris where they are now nowhere near what they look like. And the best part is that you have this upper class that is living the perfect life. They have these small areas where there's robots around that are helping them out, and they, you know, get their memories. They sit at these little cafes and, you know, have their food, living a perfect life. But there's these walls around them, and under these walls is slums and just people that are normal but living a terrible life that are just barely getting by. And it's a absolutely awesome premise for a game. And I love the idea that this is a new IP. They went out and made this game. And yes, the voice acting is not that great so far. It's a bit of it's cringeworthy at times. But the battles I've had, the actual combat I find really entertaining, and overall the game's atmosphere that it's created so far has been fantastic. So I'm feeling really positive about it, and I'm really happy that I am, because that, you know, is going to probably turn out to be something that I'm going to give a good review for. But I'm excited to kind of play it more, experience it more, and I'm happy to say that too, because that's something that I can share with you, Gage. Yeah. For example, when you're going into it, that, you know, people have said bad things about this game. Maybe you won't like it, but if you enjoyed kind of the Batman style of combat, but maybe a little bit different, but, you know, kind of take Batman combat, but then make it your own. Like, you can create your own combos, which to me was actually a little bit of a plus in that way.
Yeah, that seems pretty cool. That's something that would interest me.
Batman combat, I think, is a bit better in, like, its actual, you know, how it works, but just the idea of how you can, you know, change your own type of way. And there's different stuff you can use as well, but that's pretty much enough on that front there. I'll pass it on to you. You've been playing this week.
I've played Injustice a lot.
Yes, so you're back. You're back in. 6 hours
straight yesterday. I'm finally at the point where I'm not losing that many matches. I'm winning way more matches than I'm losing.
Yeah, which
is good. I'm still, like, I'm jumping into ranked games now and still consistently being able to win. And they just added a new DLC character, Scorpion, from Mortal Kombat. I
thought it was a bit interesting that they added an MK character.
Yeah, a lot of people are up in arms about it, but he plays really well and he works really well in the series.
That's good.
And Ed Boon, one of the creators of the game, already confirmed that's the only character who's not DC.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that, and they also teased Martian Manhunter in that DLC.
So there's going to be even more DLC coming in the future?
It looks like there's going to be another season pass, is what people are guessing.
Huh. So it's a big hit, that is. Yeah. Or the game is, that is.
Yeah. And I've been just diving into that, trying to learn a second character, because right now I'm pretty much only good online with Batman.
Yeah.
All the other ones I might know a combo word too, but I'm still getting like torn apart by people.
That's fair enough, because usually when you go into games like that, I felt the same way. This is a different game, but when I was playing League of Legends, I felt very safe by one character that I learned, and I would, win. And if you want to call it KD in that way, I would actually go into games and, if I had a good team, we'd win, and I would have a positive ratio in that aspect. Whenever I played with other characters, it was like, I know what's going on, but I don't feel comfortable. Like, it's that difference where you feel like if you're facing someone that knows every single thing and how to chain it together, you're going to get your ass whooped. So it is a nice feeling when you're able to kind of expand from that and get a little bit more in depth with the actual style there. And
it's pretty, like, I'm starting to get past that point where before I'd see people like, I'd watch streams of people fighting, and I'm like, and they're blocking, then suddenly they block low. I'm like, how do you know to do that? That's insane. But now I'm noticing myself, I'm like, oh, I recognize this move.
Yeah, you're getting an idea of when things are coming at you.
So, like, for example, Scorpion has a really, really fast teleport that if you hold down, it'll block it. And I'm able to predict pretty much all the time now that he's going to teleport, and I can just block it.
So still having fun, getting your fair share of that game.
I think I've jumped back in. So yesterday, like I said, I played for 6 hours, and then when I was done, I just watched videos on it.
That's the life to live, just injustice all the way. Anything else this week?
A little bit of Metro Last Light.
Yes.
I only played maybe about another hour, but I'm hoping to jump back into that game soon.
And we played Fuse, obviously. We've already talked about that. So
yeah.
I mean, that's a game that does not deserve any more explanation of what it is.
We talked about that for long enough.
So Mike, you've been playing NHL, right? Because the playoffs are happening right now.
Playing NHL, and I was playing Dragon's Dogma a bit too.
Yeah. How's Dragon's Dogma going? How far are you into that?
Like 10 hours, probably, something like that.
Has it been a good game? Because that was one that I was interested to find out what you thought of it.
It just makes me want to play Skyrim. And then I go and play Skyrim and realize there's nothing to do in Skyrim for me anymore.
Yeah.
Because I've done all of it. So.
Just Skyrim 2 needs to come out.
We need a new Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. Well, I think...
Or Fallout.
Fallout, I think, is the...
I like Fallout. It's like the post-apocalypse version of...
that universe.
Yeah.
What did you think, though, of the NHL 14 Enforcer trailer that came out today? Because I know it's not necessarily game-related, but you've been into NHL stuff, and I want to get your opinion on the new fighting that's going to be coming.
It's better than first person, but they could be using time and resources on more influential things for the game.
I'm happy it's gone. I think the one thing I wanted to note on that I thought was pretty cool was...
I'm glad they got rid of first-person fighting, because it really is bad and takes you right out of the atmosphere of the game.
This is also that weird year, too, right? Because they're not coming to next-gen. Like, FIFA 14 is going to be on next-gen consoles.
Yeah, but NHL 14 is not?
No, it will not be. So this is that weird year where they're making improvements, but in a lot of ways...
They probably really don't care.
They're gonna have to scrap stuff when they go to NHL 15 for next gen, or at least not scrap it, but have to kind of reimagine a lot of those things. One of the things I'm most excited for next gen NHL is like a more realistic arena, just the crowd being, crowd and the players and everything just feeling that much more like if they can take the presentation that they've already made and make it a little bit better, and then just have like the arena be that much more immersive.
All the arenas are authentic.
But you have people in the stands that are Winnipeg Jets jersey, blank, green, blue, Winnipeg Jets jersey.
So you mean like just visually more?
Yes, more appealing. Like I'm entering arena. Okay, I
see what you mean.
Because they're doing the Be a Pro mode this year as well, which we kind of feel a little bit iffy on.
What do they call it? Live the life mode.
Yeah.
So that sounds kind of interesting.
I don't.
There's parts of it where it's like, yeah, that'd be cool to have, but I can just see it getting old really fast.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's room for that to be interesting, but I think when you take something like that, maybe they're propping that up so that then when I go to the next gen, it's gonna be that much more entertaining. Like I could just see or just walking into the actual rink and the crowd being crazy, the lights and everything.
You know what I would like is if they have like an interactive locker room.
Yeah.
So like you've got all your teammates there and stuff, and you can go say
Fleur,
whatever.
You're playing bad tonight.
Yeah, like say you're the captain, you got to motivate certain players and stuff
RPG.
like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I think you
got to say the right thing to the right player, and then stuff like that.
There's room, like we talked about that already, but I think there's room to innovate with next gen.
Yeah.
And whether they do that in video games in interesting ways has yet to be seen, but I think that especially with the ways that they can make stadiums and ways that they can make the game feel that much more entertaining and real. Like, all they got to do for that first NHL 15, they're going to, if you look at NHL 8 and you look at NHL 13, the difference in the graphics, the difference in the quality of that game is miles and miles better. And I think that we're going to see a really awesome game, but it's going to be like that, essentially.
But that's like 5 years or something.
Yeah, but what I'm just trying to say is, like, that was the first next gen.
Yeah.
And
was it?
Yeah, no. There was NHL 7 for the 360, but not for the PS3.
Oh, okay.
So it was like essentially a ported over one, but it was essentially, it looked like makeup just put on someone's face.
Yeah.
That type of upgrade, not anything better than that. And I mean, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun seeing a next gen NHL game, but it's actually good, I think, that they're not putting it out this year. They're going to wait till next year.
Yeah.
Because
they're
going to actually have a year to make it.
For that, yeah.
Like FIFA 14 is just coming out right away, and that thing's going to be very much like the caked on makeup of a next gen game rather than anything special for the next gen one.
In comparison, you mean? Right?
Yeah. Well, when NHL or when FIFA 15 comes out, that's going to be a lot better than what FIFA 14 is going to be.
FIFA just makes all the sport games look bad.
That's true, because there's so much money. You know what? I might even be proven wrong as well, because they might even have a specific team working on the next gen one. So we'll have to wait and see. But the last game I want to talk about this week was State of Decay. That was the other new game that I've been playing this week, and really interesting because I actually probably, after seeing those reviews for Rememeber Me, had a little bit more anticipation for that game rather than Rememeber Me. And I'm having fun with it so far. I haven't been able to play it as much as I've wanted to for the podcast because it only came out this morning.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an interesting game. The idea behind it is that it really actually just drops you in. The screen goes from black to your friend being attacked by zombies, and you're like, "Oh, what's going on?" And it's you and your friend Ed, his name is, and you go to you're in like this rural park area, and you meet up with some people. You're scouting around. They end up all dying, and you go into this town where there's this essentially survival camp where there's a bunch of other people there, and that becomes your base. And in this game, the idea behind it is that each day you have to go out and you have to scavenge for supplies, you have to do certain missions to get other people back, and you have to keep people safe. You can also switch between the people in your camp, so one person will get tired at a certain point, you'll have to bring them back to camp, and at other points too, you can die. From what I understand, you can die and your character will perma-die. Like, it'll be, that's it.
He's dead.
Yeah, and you can get bitten and that person's sick, and if you don't heal them, they will, turn into a zombie. You need to kill them off. And these are all really interesting kind of facets. I've yet to really experience, like, oh, we didn't get enough food, and that hunger type of strike coming on. Or, right now the problem is we don't have enough beds. And I'm trying to get enough supplies to go out and do that. And it's really neat because you don't want to drive around cars. So you're going out by yourself. You're crouching through these areas, and you have this makeshift, like, shovel or something like that. And you see a hardware store, and you go in, try and find an opening, and let's say I go through the back door, I have to break open the back door, which makes noise, and zombies get attracted to that. I try and clear that out, and what I can do at that point is I can call for my friends that are at the settlement to come and pick up the supplies and bring it back. But that actually means, holding this place and making it safe. You can make settlements at certain places too. You can climb up and scout the areas that you're in. There's a lot of really interesting stuff with that, but I've yet to really scratch the surface of it. The only problem I'm having with the game is that the frame rate is not good. I showed you it, and I was literally spinning my camera around, and it was going, like, it was chugging.
Yeah.
And, when you're in your car, the pop-in in the game is like, oh, 5 houses ahead is not a house until you move, 20 feet forward, and then there's a house there. There's a lot of that going on. But for $20, this game looks almost like it looks like a lowly made $60 title, which is actually, I think, is a lot of praise for a game like that. Kind of like the Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon scenario, where that game was already using the Far Cry 3 engine, but this one is made on its own engine and looks fantastic. I don't know how deep it is. I really want to experience more from it, and I want to, know what this game's all about before I get into my, overall feelings. But I feel like this is one of those games that it'll have its issues, it'll have, frustrating things about it, but the actual gameplay will kind of make it a worthwhile time. But yeah, I'm having fun with it so far, but definitely out of the two so far, I'm really enjoying Rememeber Me, and we're only about 4 days away, or even 3 days away, I think, from Animal Crossing coming out. So there's the pile of games continues to
building up.
Yeah, and like I said, Last of Us next Friday, which
9 days
is
9 days.
That's gonna be the game that I'm
gonna get it right away.
Gonna enjoy that one. So hopefully, you know what? Hopefully midnight launch. Then I can just stay up late and then regret it later on while I'm at work that day. So. But with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast this week. If you want to send in questions to the podcast, you can do so at checkpointachieved@gmail.com. Also, we'll have the question of the week on the YouTube page. And if you want to check out our actual written reviews, you can check those out at my IGN blog. You can check out those at Bryden K10, I believe is the name for that one. Or, other than that, we have checkpointachieved.com too, where all our stuff is also posted to boot. And we got the Almighty Gaming PDF up there as well. So check that out. That is the massive, massive list of games that have been announced and all the release dates and our plans for playing them too. And yeah, Twitter as well. I'm at Brydo, and YouTube is Brydo as well. So that's it for me. We got Gage. You got anything to plug this week?
I have a Twitter, Gage24Paul. Twitter.
Yeah, gotta get those followers. But yeah, that's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back next week. And next week, actually, is going to be a bit of an interesting show because we're going to be doing reactions to each of the conferences, and we'll be posting that episode up on Monday. So it'll be an early podcast. We'll have reactions on the YouTube page as well immediately afterwards, and then we'll have just a round table podcast of probably the most people we've ever had on the show. So until then, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
I want the caffeine guy to come back. Do you guys?
I want Drive Club guy.
Yes.
Yes! Drive Club guy.
We got every thread in there.
He's like controller in one hand, and he's just like, just like quietly just.
Mike's doing hand gestures.